Hi, I'm Elizabeth Mendenhall, and you're joining me in a 5-part series on strategic planning for realtor associations in 2020. In the first video, we kind of did an overall summary of what strategic planning concepts might look like. In the second video, we talked about accessibility. And now in our third video, we're talking about mass collaboration. So millennials kind of let us in on a little secret that they've known all along, and that is the power of mass collaboration, which has taken off more so than ever here in 2020. I once read a statistic, and I don't know if it's still true or not, that said that a 16-year-old consults 40 people 40 people before they purchase something. You know, they're in the dressing room, they take a picture of themselves, they put it on Instagram, they see what other people think, they get feedback and ideas, and then they make a decision. And with all of the uncertainty that we've had in 2020, it has really unleashed and unlocked the power for mass collaboration, because we found ourselves in a situation where no one knew what to do. And in order to succeed and in order to fight back and thrive, we knew we needed to reach out to people to see what were other people doing to get and gather more ideas. And there's so many new and different ways that we can do that now and gather ideas. And the great thing about it is we realize the power of it and how powerful it can be for associations and for bringing people together to understand a common vision, a common purpose, to understand why we're changing or moving. But you've got to plan for mass collaboration, because sometimes it happens organically when we do have things like a pandemic that kind of happen and where there's a specific need. But it's also things that we can make sure that we're intentional about, so that we're rallying people behind decisions and learning more about our decisions so that they can be absolutely better and better. You know, the very first thing that happened, I know, is when all of a sudden, crisis struck. And being in Missouri, I reached out to my peers and, okay, so how are you handling things in your brokerage? How are you handling things in your office? And I know that local associations did that. We saw for the first time ever, state CEOs were having weekly calls about how they were doing things. Local association leaders were having weekly calls. Many state associations were having calls for all of their then local and state leaders and trying to have everybody bring the best ideas to the table. And it would certainly be a shame if we lost that, because the power in that, one, made us more accessible, but two, absolutely brought the best ideas to the top and to the forefront. One of my favorite quotes is from a guy named Dr. Linus Pauling. And what he says is, in order to have a good idea, you have to have lots of ideas. And that's part of that power of mass collaboration. We saw Facebook groups completely explode. How many of you are in so many Facebook groups, or you had a Facebook group in your community that was dedicated just to kind of understanding what was going on with COVID? There are powerful, powerful ways associations can use their groups and use groups of their members to do different things, to share ideas. Many of us have communication resources where we can share ideas, but sometimes we're just pushing it. We're not asking for back and forth communication, and that's part of that power. It's not just bringing things to the masses, it's having the mass collaborate together and sharing ideas together. And so with that, one of the things that it made us able to do is it made ideas able to move faster, because we trusted that things have been thought out. We saw the conversation as it flowed, so we knew it was being thought out better and better and better, which meant that members could trust what was happening because they knew that thought process had taken place. They had the ability to ask questions. And when you have that trust factor, that really starts to create that culture that you have asked for feedback, you've listened to it, and now you can share that feedback with the masses. And that trust then allows you to move faster and allows you to be much more responsive. And most importantly, we really tapped into the wisdom of crowds. There's a great book with that same title written by a New York journalist who was actually at a state fair, and he was taking an observation of people guessing the weight of the pig. And you might also think of this if you ever watched the game show called The Price is Right. As people start to guess the weight of the pig, or they start to guess how much something costs, the more the group shares ideas, the closer and closer and closer they get to the best answer. And that is very true for associations. But sometimes we kind of bottle that up because we leave ideas to a leadership team, or we leave ideas to a strategic planning committee or to a board of directors, and we're scared to go out and ask for input to make our ideas better. But part of asking for that input and really rallying the crowd together behind it is so that you can learn where are the highs, where are the lows, where are things that need to be improved, where are things that need to be tweaked to really get to some of the best answers. And I think COVID in 2020 really brought out some of that power of mass collaboration, which can be so extraordinarily hopeful and helpful to an association. In the next video, we're going to talk about creativity and all of the explosion of creativity and ideas and how critical that is to our own volunteers and to the